subscribe to the channel and like. Happy viewing. Sri Lanka closes schools, limits work mid fuel shortage. Schools are closed and public officials are staying home from work Friday in Sri Lanka. Colombo, Sri Lanka. Sri Lankan authorities on Friday closed schools and asked public officials not to come to work in a desperate move to prepare for an acute fuel shortage that is expected to last days amid the nation's worst economic crisis in decades. The Public Administration Ministry asked the public officials, except for those who maintain essential services, not to come to work on Friday in a view of current fuel shortage and issues in transport facilities across the country. State and government-approved private schools also closed Friday amid the worsening fuel shortage, with thousands of people waiting in queues at fuel stations across the country for days at a time. Sri Lanka is now almost without gasoline and faces an acute shortage of other fuels as well. The government has been struggling to find money to pay for the importation of fuel, gas and other essentials in recent months as the Indian Ocean island nation is on the brink of bankruptcy. Its economic woes have brought on a political crisis, with the government facing widespread protests and unrest. For months, Sri Lankans have endured long lines to buy those essentials, most of which come from abroad. Shortages of hard currency have also hindered imports of raw materials for manufacturing and worsened inflation. Protesters blocked main roads to demand gas and fuel, and television stations showed people in some areas fighting over limited stocks. Authorities have announced country-wide power cuts of up to 4 hours a day because they can't supply enough fuel to power generating stations. Sri Lanka has suspended repayment of about $7 billion in foreign loans due this year out of $25 billion to be repaid by 2026. The country's total foreign debt is $51 billion. The finance ministry says the country currently has only $25 million in usable foreign reserves. Protesters have occupied the entrance to the president's office for more than a month, calling for President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to resign. Months of anti-government rallies have led to the near dismantling of the once powerful ruling family, with one of the president's brothers resigning as prime minister, and other siblings and a nephew leaving their cabinet posts. Protesters accuse the Rajapaksas of triggering the crisis through corruption and misrule. Sri Lanka's new Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said Monday that about $75 billion is needed urgently to help provide essential items, but the country's treasury is struggling to find even $1 billion. Attacks by Rajapaksa supporters on protesters last week sparked nationwide violence that left 9 people, including a lawmaker, dead, and more than 200 injured. Homes of lawmakers and their supporters were burned down. That's all. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.